Good morning, everyone, and thank you all so much again for joining us. Today, we are going to kick off our BitFit virtual series. I am Karen Hollis, as always, and I am with the Business Inclusion and Diversity Program. I am the individual that has been in developing programs and services that can assist small minority and disadvantaged businesses into having more contract inclusion. The city, of course, did a diversity study, which concludes that there are measures that the city can and should take to ensure more inclusion for minority contractors. The Business Inclusion and Diversity Program is such a program that's been developed at the offset of that. And so I would like to welcome all of our participants. I usually try to do an introduction so that we allow other individuals time to be able to sign on. And in that introduction, it is information that will be available to everyone because we are recording all of these sessions. But I want to make sure that I always provide an introduction so that each and every individual will have an opportunity to sign on and hear from our presenter. And boy, do we have an amazing lineup for you this afternoon. We have a panel of quite a few Black-owned businesses, which I'm happy to report, that have agreed to partner with the City of Miramar to see if we can do and provide services and tools that will help minority businesses and contractors to be able to position themselves, more importantly, to use this COVID downtime period to see if they can input some information and services and dialogues and things into their business portfolio that will position them to be able to be even more productive and have more opportunities to be included in construction solicitations post-COVID. We do understand that this COVID crisis has forced a lot of small businesses, particularly, unfortunately, many of whom will not be actually opening or reopening, and a lot of them have had to close their doors. In fact, early on in the pandemic, it estimated that over 125,000 businesses would not recover from this. This was prior to us understanding that this pandemic would carry on for the tenure that it's had. So we know that you are there. We applaud those businesses that continue to strive and try to develop programs and services to be able to improve their portfolio, reinventing themselves and selling the emergency equipment. We have a small business, Telena Paris, and the Right Choice consulting firm that's reinvented and offering additional services that are going to be available and spoken about later. We applaud you for the ingenuity you have to do everything and all you can to continue to stay in business. And we want you to know, and when I say we, I mean the leadership of the City of Miramar. They have equipped and empowered me to be able to assist all of you in understanding that not only is the City of Miramar still open and operating for business, we are doing it remotely like so many others from home, but we are available to our small minority and definitely our local businesses. We have a few local businesses that are also going to be presenting today. So thank you. As you can see from the webinar, we have quite a portfolio. The diversity study concluded and made us understand that so many minority businesses do not respond to solicitations for several reasons. Many do not know or understand how to really develop a quality proposal that can make them more competitive in the solicitation process. Many do not perhaps know how to secure more bonding capacity that would make them a more viable choice to be partnering with a prime contractor, many of which are not able to increase their bonding capacity because of credit issues and things in terms of how they develop and keep and maintain their financial operation of their business. And so we do have someone that's going to be available, a minority Black-owned firm that right here in Miramar that offers credit repair services. You'll be hearing from him. We have the bonding agency, which is an agency that's right here in the City of Miramar, Black-owned as well. And so we're excited about that. We have individuals from our engineering team you'll hear from. We have an engineer because we understand that a lot of minority businesses do not understand how to read a scope of work to be able to develop and see if in fact there are pieces of the information or pieces of the project that might be a viable, they can offer their services. They can contact a prime contractor and say, but I've read the scope of work and I believe that I can offer this segment of the scope and my services. And so we want to have, and we have an engineer on board that's literally going to go through and show you what a scope of work. More importantly, we're not just going to give you information on how to build up your company so that you can be able to respond more readily and have more inclusion in upcoming procurement solicitations. We're also going to be able to tell you about some upcoming projects that the city of Miramar will be releasing, that we want you to be able to position yourself to be able to take advantage of those surtax projects. So that will be coming along in the end. So you have to stay tuned, and I wanted to give it as a carrot to let you know, do not hang up. Now, here we go. We're going to start off the series, and we want to start off with ensuring you that there are community stakeholders and other agencies that the city of Miramar partners with. You will see Office of Economic and Small Business Development being one of them. They will talk about their certifications. The Florida Department of Transportation, of course, some transportation projects are going to be released later. So we'd like to kick off today's webinar with Mr. Watson. We have our none other than Mr. Terry.Watson. He is the State DBE Program Coordinator in the EEO Office of FDOT. He is the one that ensures the department and construction industry achieve their DBE goals. We want to know, Mr. Watson, the goal of this series is to make sure that you understand what's going on. And we want you to know that not only in BIFIT do we help you to understand and partner with these others, and thank you, Paul, for putting up the flyer, but we do so through several different areas. You're going to have the outline of everything that you have here. You're going to continue to see that each and every presenter will have an outline like the one that Paul has placed on the screen to help me remind me that I wanted to talk to you a little more about the BitFit before bringing on Mr. Watson. So what do we do now that we've been empowered by the diversity study to help businesses? We do so in certain ways. We do it through monitoring and compliance, outreach, education, which this series is a part of. Contractor database, you're going to hear more about that from Paul and Dorothy at the end, and minority data collection. There are a series of tools and services that the Business Inclusion and Diversity Program has and will continue to make available to all. As you see these presentations that are going to be available, as each presenter come on, Paul will do pretty much like what he's done with me. You'll see their presentation. Do not worry if you're not able to capture all of the information or if you're not able to clearly read. All of these materials will be made available at the conclusion. We are recording this session, and the session recording will be made available and on the Economic and Business Development website, as well as the Business Inclusion web portal page. But we will also make sure that every participant that's on this call today receive a copy of all of the presentations that are made available. And at the end of this, you're going to see we have a contact page, because the goal of this series is to make sure that we equip you with tools and services that can help you better position yourself to do solicitations. But we also want to make sure that you have a library of resources and connections and industry experts that you can reach out to should you need additional services. So we believe that's something that's going to empower you as a minority or small, disadvantaged, or medium-sized business to be able to improve your service offerings, and we want to make that information available to you. So now let's get going. The first presenter that I'm going to make available to you is Mr. Terry.Watson. As I said before, he is the State DBE Program Coordinator. He not only is the one that's responsible for ensuring that the DBE goals are met for FDOT, which is why we know it's an intricate person that we want you to be able to familiarize yourself with, especially those of you that are DBE certified. We also, Mr. Watson is also the one that monitors adherence of prime contractors that perform on FDOT roadway and bridge work. He is the one that the primes must ensure that they not only have secured a sufficient number of subcontractors to meet their goals, but he monitors and ensures and follows through, as all of us that are managing these programs do, to ensure that they're following through on the commitments that they've made to FDOT. So as we come along, please make sure now, Paul, if you can go to the next one. Mr. Terry.Watson, you will be our first presenter. I'd like to introduce to some and reacquaint with others. And Mr. Watson, if you're available, please take it away.
Thank you very much, Karen. Thank you so much. One thing I'm noticing, and hopefully you can hear me, looking at, as I see my picture on the screen, it's frozen. So the video may be frozen, but can you hear me fine?
I can hear you perfectly.
Fantastic. Again, thank you very much for allowing me the opportunity to be a part of this great day and to impart some information to all the folks there in Miramar and anywhere else that folks are tuning in from. As Dr. Hollis said, my name's Terry.Watson with the Florida Department of Transportation's Equal Opportunity Office. I'm just going to spend a few quick moments because we have quite a few great panelists here. So I'm going to just take just a couple, 3 minutes to impart a little bit of information. And I know this is a series, so that's going to be great that you guys can tune in and in later dates talk about what DOT does in the area of certification and DB certification and so forth. But today I'm going to just kind of focus in on a couple things dealing with pre-qualification. You hear a lot about that out there. I want to make sure that you understand if you get pre-qualified by DOT, that's not the same as being certified. Pre-qualification is not certification. Pre-qualification is something that's done both for our construction firms and our professional services firms. Pre-qualification for construction is done out of our construction office in central office in Tallahassee, as well as professional services. Pre-qualification is also done out of central office. One of the things that I want you to also understand as a small business, as a whether you're a disadvantaged business or just a small business, that even if you're not pre-qualified, you can work on FDOT projects as a subcontractor. Now, if you're a professional services consultant, you need to be pre-qualified to work as a prime or as a sub-consultant on FDOT projects over $250,000. So from that standpoint, you want to make sure if you're a consulting firm that you go through and get in touch with us, go on our website and get the information to get pre-qualified as a consultant to be able to work on our projects. Again, as a contractor, only if you're going to be a prime on a project, you need to necessarily be pre-qualified. But the caveat to that even is that even if you're not going to be a prime, if you're able to get pre-qualified, if you're able to go through and give the information that's needed to the folks in the construction area about your financials for your business, the work that you've done and with references so that those can be checked out. It's never a bad idea that if you can be pre-qualified, go ahead and get pre-qualified in the work that you're doing. We pre-qualify in specific types of work. So if you're doing pavement, or if you're doing concrete, or if you're doing landscaping, you can get pre-qualified in the type of work that you're doing. And one good thing about being pre-qualified by DOT, most of the other entities throughout the state, once they see that you are a pre-qualified contractor through Department of Transportation, they know that you've been, as you might want to call it, run through the paces. They know that you've been out and that you're able to do the work that you're trying to go after in their district or county or whatever, or city. So again, I think that's something that you want to make sure that you look at And if you're in a position to get pre-qualified, do so. But again, don't forget, if you're a construction contractor, don't let not being pre-qualified stop you from wanting to look at the opportunities at DOT. We have a lot of work out there. Our budget's about a $10 billion budget. Over the last 4 years, we've had roughly $10 billion of budget each year. And as a matter of fact, we're near closing here. I just want to point out to you the information that you'll get from Karen and her group. At the bottom of the FDOT page, there's an actual link that you can actually click on and go to and see if you want to search for pre-qualified contractors and be able to look and see who is pre-qualified. Or once you go through the process, that's where you'll show up when a contractor or when a city wants to look and see if you're pre-qualified with DOT, they'd be able to go in and search for you. But that link there will also give you additional information about getting pre-qualified and some of the things you need to do. Of course, you can always give us a call in central office, and I'll give my number in just a second. I just want to close with one of the things that if you are a certified DBE firm, and if you're not, you may want to consider, if you think that if you're a minority-owned or women-owned firm and think you might qualify to be able to be certified as a DBE, you may want to definitely look into that, because you can then utilize the services of the department's supportive services provider at no cost to you. Again, there is a cost, but DOT is paying it. And that service provider will go through and help you do whatever it takes to grow your business. If you need assistance with capability statements, with marketing plans, if you need assistance in developing information to take to your banker to try and get loans, if you need assistance in trying to learn how to bid projects effectively and bid on projects. Also, they have a piece that goes through that support service provider that they help you locate DOT projects that are out there whenever they're let, that actually have on that project what it is you do. Larger firms have a whole staff of people who do that for them. But as a DBE, you can actually utilize our supportive services folks, and they do bid matching for you, where they'll send email to you throughout the state or wherever you tell them you want to work, jobs that have on them what you do, and they'll give you just that section, so you don't have to try and leaf through all the other pieces. And they'll help identify for you any primes who are holding the project holders on those particular jobs, so that you can then contact those primes to try and see if you can quote as a sub for them. So again, a lot of different things that you can take advantage of. So in ending now, again, just don't be afraid to contact us. We're out there to help you. We really do want our DB firms, our small businesses, to be a part of growth in DOT. So Karen, I think that's it for now. And if we have questions, we can talk about that later. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Watson. Good information. And for many of you that saw the flyer and responded to the flyer to be able to join on today, you might be thinking, why in the world would we need 4 webinars with the same individuals? I love that Mr. Watson was able to talk about the DBE certification. If you will see, the flyer says available certifications. We did get a question in, Mr. Watson, saying they are DBE. Do you have to be DBE certified? And what is it, reciprocity, or does the city of Miramar? The city of Miramar, which you will hear, and we're going to talk about certification a little later, is not a certifying agency. We do accept certifications, which is why throughout this series, we're going to have several organizations whose certifications that we accept. A certification is just like pre-qualification, as Mr. Watson was alluding to. It's a vetting system. It is a system just like pre-qualification that allows prime contractors a little more assurance in your qualifications and ability to do the work that you're saying you can do. Nowadays, with so many contractual obligations, prime contractors are needing to make sure that firms are not just certified, but are qualified to do the work. So the pre-qualification aspect is a great tool that a lot of prime contractors look to, especially on roadway transportation projects, which we're going to talk a little more about later, to ensure that they're dealing with a firm. It's nice to be able to contract with someone that's certified in a minority, but most prime contractors have communicated to me effectively that they want to ensure that they are partnering with minority businesses that can actually do excellent work. So pre-qualification, we can't talk about it enough. All of the certifications, we're going to have other certifying agencies that whose certifications the city accepts that are going to be on the next webinar. We'll talk a little bit about that at the end. But thank you, Mr. Watson. And as he also alluded to, there are two aspects to pre-qualification with FDOT. There's a pre-qualification for professional side, which is the design part, and you'll hear a little more about that in the engineering scope of work. And there's a pre-qualification for construction. We will have both of those being featured throughout this series so that you can go on. We're showing you these websites. We want you at the conclusion of this first webinar to go on. We're going to provide you with Mr. Watson as well as every other panel member contact information, but we want you to go onto these sites. We want you to try to get pre-qualified. We want you to try to go on when Dawn tells you about her certification program and try to get certified. And then come back with the next session if you have any questions, if you've had any challenges, if you need additional assistance. We are not going to leave you. We're literally going to walk you through each and every one of these processes. And the goal is that at the conclusion of this amazing series, you will be pre-qualified either construction or professional. You will be certified with any and all agencies you desire to be. You will have already spoken to our bond assurity lady to see if you can increase or if you're bondable. You will have reached out to the credit repair. So without further ado, I'm going to continue again. The next one that we have Miss Gladys Keith. She is the president and owner of FSB Agency of Black-owned businesses, a Black-owned Miramar business. Ms. Keith FSB specializes in providing contract surety bonds for small and medium construction firms. It's a surety, her program provides surety support on utilizing available government bond guarantee programs. She's going to talk to you a little bit about those guarantee programs that she and her team makes available, and they assist small and medium-sized businesses in securing. She's also going to talk a little bit more about the elements that are necessary to make you as a business owner bondable. And then you will see in terms of the order of services, how we've extrapolated and we've invited members of the panel to be able to give you that much more support based on the information that you will hear from the owner of a bonding agency that are critical to be able to position your company to be bondable or to increase your bonding capacity. Thank you so much, Gladys Keith, for agreeing to be a part of this panel. Please take it away, Gladys.
Thank you, Karen. Good afternoon, everyone. As she said, FSB Agency we specialize in contract surety bonds. Contract surety bonds, as you can see on my little handout that they have up there, these will be bid bonds, performance bonds, and payment bonds. Mainly the type of bonding you're going to need when you get contracts with the city of Miramar. However, in order to start this bonding process, the main thing that most small businesses will need to be bondable is they need to be set up as a business entity. Sole proprietors, it's a very vulnerable position to try to get bonding as a sole proprietor. So you need to be an established business entity. You also need to have financial situations in place. I need CPA prepared financial statements to get you set up in bonding. I also need, with bonding, your credit needs to be at least a minimum of 650. Now, there are several programs out there for small businesses where I can get you set up without having all of the documentation you would need for standard surety market, but you need to have good credit to get set up in those programs, and it needs to be closer to 700. Those programs go up to 400 minimum, 500 minimum. There's also a small business administration bond guarantee program. When I mention programs, they are expensive. What I mean by expensive is your bond premium on these programs are going to cost more than if you came to me and I set you up in standard surety markets. Having expensive bond premium sometimes is going to kick you out of being winning these projects, because your bid is going to be a little bit higher than everybody else. If you have any more questions about bonding, when we do bonding, it's a one-on-one.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Gladys. One of the things that a lot of businesses over the years enjoy in this industry, a lot of the smaller businesses find bonding and insurance to be barriers. And I have to educate them that requiring procurement department's requirement of an insurance and bonding is not a barrier. It can be challenging for minority companies. So I'm so glad that you mentioned that there are organizations and the partnerships that we have, like with the SBA, and there are mechanisms and services that are in place that can minimize the financial impact. Because Gladys, one of the things that I'd like for you to speak about is how important, most people don't understand. First of all, bonding is not a barrier. It's something that the agencies can contract and the prime contractors. There are some ingenuity that's been done over the years to be able to allow smaller businesses to come under the umbrella of the prime contractor bonds. And then there are some tools and tips that agencies put in place to see if we can minimize the requirements, if in fact it will not hinder the ability of the work to be done effectively and to ensure that the agency is protected and the project protected. However, also, I've learned, Gladys, that a lot of businesses don't understand the competitiveness and how securing and the availability to be bondable or to increase your bonding capacity literally adds to your ability to be more competitive in the solicitation process. Are you able to speak to that a little bit, please?
Yes, I can. The key to being more competitive with a bond is also going to be your credit. If you have good credit, then I am able to get you bonding at a more reasonable premium. When I mean premium, there's a bond rate you have to pay to get this performance and payment bond. And the better rate you get, the less this bond is going to cost you when you sit down at the table and present your bid or proposal. Your bond rate isn't going to be very high, which keeps you competitive. You will be sitting at the table with the same kind of rate that the primes will have. So it's best to have focus on your credit to make sure that you are conscious of what your credit is, what's out there on your credit, to keep that credit, around 650, so that I'm able to get you the best rate. That's going to get you make you the most competitive. Also, having financial statements, quality financial statements, will also help you get better bonding and more bonding.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I love the customization, and we definitely will be providing great information, Gladys. We will be providing her information in the contact log that you will see at the end of the webinar, and will be made available to all of the participants today. We cannot stress enough. They say that COVID is actually the virus, but the real pandemic is failure to plan. This is a perfect opportunity for you to position yourself. You're going to hear about some upcoming contracting opportunities to be able to find out your bonding capacity, if in fact, especially if you're a construction firm and you're looking to take advantage of the upcoming solicitation process. Work with Ms. Keith and her team. They will customize and speak to you more on a personal level, because when it comes to your credit scores and your financial accounts, that's not something we can be able to make available to you, nor should we on an open forum like what we're presenting through these webinars, which is again why we're having 4 series. We want you to then go back, reach out to the individuals that we're making available to you, if nothing more, to accumulate more information so that you can make informed decisions and plans so that you can continue to survive and keep your business open post-COVID. Perfect transition, talking about credit repair, to our next presenter. We have an individual, Mr. Jerry Joseph is here. He's a proud partner with Xander Financial, which is another Black-owned business that's located in the city of Miramar. Yes, I'm going to stress one is my Miramar firm. And actually, August is Black Business Month, where we celebrated Black businesses. And we want to know in this movement and the leaders of the city, we're very passionate about ensuring that we're doing all we can to advance and promote Black-owned businesses. This is not just a movement for us. It's been a practice. That is why the study exists. The only reason back in 2011 and 13 that you had cities and organizations in Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach counties looking to secure diversity studies, it wasn't because they didn't need a march that said that Black Lives Matter. All we had to do was look in the mirror. If you look at the panel of leaders for the city of Miramar, I am often so thankful that my husband married me about 25 years ago and we moved to this great city. So I was always proud of this city long before coming on board and becoming a staff. This is a city that's truly representative of Black people. And so what we need to do is to make sure, and it's always been in a position to try to empower and create programs that are going to advance and elevate and help minority contractors. We do not practice discrimination, but this is a minority majority city. And so the residents of the city complained for more inclusion, which is why the diversity study came into place. And the diversity study concluded we need to do a better job promoting our Black-owned businesses. So this is a program, as for many of you know, we've been here. I've been doing this long before the Black Lives Matter movement. So we're doing all these things ensure to position and putting these things in place to make sure that we can assist and provide more assistance. So I'm happy. Thank you again, Gladys. We have yet another Black-owned business, Xander Financial. Mr. Jerry Joseph is here as a partner of him. They offer services on how to build your credit. We just heard that that's going to be a key tool that will be necessary not only to assist you to become more bondable and to increase your bonding capacity, but also it's going to be a tool that's going to be needed for them to look at to ensure, and it's going to regulate the extent to which you're able to get a lower amount, no difference when you go out for insurance or anything else or loans. Likewise, credit matters. And so that is why it was important for us to ensure that we include credit repair services. Thank you so much, Jerry Joseph, for agreeing to partner with us and join us in this process. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you all to Mr. Jerry Joseph of Xander Financial. He's a partner that's going to be giving you a little more information on how you can get more credit savvy and have your credit repaired to the extent that's going to help you to be more successful in the solicitation process. Go ahead, Jerry.
Thank you, Ms. Karen. Hope everyone is well. Gladys, appreciate your presentation. So everyone, here at Xander Financial, we do specialize in both personal and business credit. Our expertise is to develop the best strategies and effort to improve credit. Now, credit plays a big role, especially not only when it comes to bonding, but also grants, so on and so forth. And when it comes to business credit, you have two options. There's personal guarantee and there's non-guarantee. Now, the difference between the two, when it's personal guarantee, that basically gives you access to quick funding because you're basically using your personal information to aid your business in establishing credit. Then you have non-guarantee where you're basically using just the business credit alone, and you typically develop that over time through vendor accounts and trade lines. Now, here at Xander Financial, when you meet with any of our consultants, such as myself, we do go through a 4 simple process to better give our clients a better experience. And one being identifying your goals. So what's important to you and what you're looking to achieve as far as like time frame. Then we go over like your credit review. What areas in your personal credit, for example, that needs to be improved and how we can help. So, as far as like verifying inaccuracies, anything that should not be reflecting on your credit that may affect you, we go over that as well. And we also go over like budget, as far as like a budget plan, just to better assist you in aiding you through your process, just to make sure if there are any collections or anything like that that needs to be taken care of, we're able to handle it. And then at that point, we just implement those actions to basically develop the best strategies. Now, it's important to strive for a 650 minimum credit score as it pertains to the bond programs and most grant assistance. Every credit profile is different. There's no guarantee on time frame, but we've seen results typically in about 2 to 3 months as far as like time frame is concerned. Factors that determine your credit score varies. It definitely depends on like your payment history, your debt, your length of credit history, types of credits being used, and also new credit. So you could definitely reach out to any, Xander Financial, just to inquire what areas in your credit it's holding you back from getting to that 650. So let's say you're at a 500 or 550 and you need to get to a 650, depending on those areas can determine whether or not what would get you there. So it may be as simple as adding you to a trade line, adding on to as an authorized user to someone who has a longer credit history. You won't know unless you actually take the time and review that information. You can download like a Credit Karma, and that can help you get set up. Now, for the new businesses out there, we do have a special spot for you where we can help you get set up with your business, establishing an EIN number, acquiring a business contact information, opening a checkings account, setting up your DUNS number, so on and so forth. And of course, if you all have any questions or are in need of the services, we're happy to help. And for those that are in need, Xander Financial also provides additional credibility, such as setting up your business website, a toll-free number, and a company email. We also help businesses with establishing trade lines by connecting to the right vendors that will report to major credit bureaus. So for those businesses who are already established and just need additional trade lines and building credit as opposed to using your personal credit, we do have the best advice on helping you move forward with that. And that about sums it up for our credit services. Hope you all find the information to be valuable. Happy to answer any questions.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Again, remember, credit repair is not something we can do on a public platform. It is something that is customized, and it is also something that you will directly have to reach out to the business to let them know what your personal needs are, and that we wanted you to know that we, first of all, have a Black-owned business that you can reach out to and a local Miramar firm that's available and offering these services to you. Please, please reach out. If this is an area that you know personally, and perhaps you're not sure, call, speak to Xander Financial. Allow them to help you understand. You will begin be getting the flyer, and all of the information that's been provided to us from the firms will be made available to you at the conclusion of the webinar. And you see how credit repair is an intricate part of the other things to preparing you and getting you ready to have more opportunities and success with responding to solicitation. Next, another thing that you'll see with Ms. Gladys Keith mentioned is accounting. So next we have, and we wanted to make sure that we provide you, you did hear Gladys Keith say that they will need a certified CPA financial statement in terms of bonding, but you will see, and we were looking, Paul, if you can go to the next slide, please. We were able to extrapolate some information from our CFO on basic accounting and financial statements. What is it that an individual or an actual company would need to consider? We were not going to leave you empty. In fact, we do have a Black-owned CPA firm that's going to be joining us in our next segment. However, I assured them, and I wanted to make sure that I provided you with basic financial statements, because you need to prepare as a minority company to know what it is that you need and how to get yourself positioned so that when you go into these professionals, you know the right questions to ask, you know what services you need, and you're in a better position to extrapolate and maximize the benefit of that exchange. Now, when it comes to basic financial statements, our CFO, Susan Sitting-Liebert, was really, really gracious to help me understand and provide this one feeder, which we will be providing to you. And I will tell you, ensuring that I keep abreast of what's going on in the Tri-County area. I participate on quite a few of our community stakeholder webinars. SCORE, they have an amazing financial matter and financial statement workshop that I believe, I'm not exactly sure, sometimes can be made available to businesses for free. So there are a lot of other agencies that are also making available these resources and giving you tips and information. For example, when you're looking at a basic financial statement and some of the information that Ms. Keith and her team will need to know in the balance sheet, it provides a quick review of your company financial condition. Your financial condition is going to be critical and be a critical component as to how they can best help you in terms of lowering the rate that you're going to have to pay to secure the bond or a loan, etc. These are the tools. When those PPE loans were out, all of the businesses were unable, so many, it was such a travesty, so many minority businesses were not able to capitalize and secure those loans because they did not have their financial documents in order. So we want to help you. We cannot anticipate when a crisis will come. We've learned so much through this COVID tragic and this pandemic. But one of the things, if nothing else we've learned, it is imperative that we prepare, especially as Black-owned businesses. These tools and resources are available, and they say the minority businesses were among the few. The programs were actually designed to assist minority companies, and the programs were not able to fully benefit the very firms that they were designed to assist, not because the federal government didn't make it available to the SBA. I was actually talking to a lot of the individuals, Ms. Athea and those and watching the webinars where the SBA was pleading. So many minority firms did not have their financial documents in order and were not able to capitalize. Likewise, when it comes to a diversity study, yes, but we need to do a better job. All solicitations, you will hear from our procurement director, Alicia Ayum. I see that she's on the call. She will let you know all of our City of Miramar procurements are open and available and transparent and available for everyone to respond. So many minority, micro, and small businesses don't respond because they're not prepared to be able to adequately compete and timely respond. So here, when it comes to the balance sheet, again, it provides a quick overview of your company's financial condition. The income statement. This is a statement that reports the company earnings, the revenues and the expenses, and calculate the net income. It literally lets you know, and those that are looking at your income statement, the true condition, financial condition of your company. And then the cash flow statement. It documents the flow of cash from what you're doing to finance the activities to keep your business going. No one is going to give you a loan. No one's going to give you a grant. Even if you go to Telena Paris, they help you with the solicitations and the prime contractors or the bonding or the grants and the loans without having an assurance that you have a company that's being financially fiscal and they're able to document that you're being responsible in the way that you manage the finances of your business. This is something that's critical. We know it's something that micro and small businesses can use some additional information to be able to do. We are going to make this flyer available for you. We also will have, as you can see, it was prepared by the City of Miramar CFO, Susan Gooding-Liber. Her contact information will be on the contact sheet for this session. Feel free to call her. She placed that information there. She wanted me to make sure that I make this information available to you all. She's open to assist every city leader, assist in promoting and helping small businesses grow. And this is just another extension and an example of the extent to which the leadership at the City of Miramar is willing to go to help you grow and develop and keep your business running throughout this pandemic. So thank you very much. So that's now the accounting aspect. Next, we're going to move to project pricing. I was very, very happy when this Bid Fit series is something that was evolved and extended out of a Bid Fit program that we have in our local community, in our city, whereby city leaders literally go out the city and throughout the city of Miramar, and we want to equip and empower our local Miramar firms with all of the services that it will take and all of the services that are available to the city and through the city for them to be successful as business owners. Well, this virtual concept is to ensure that we're doing the same thing in the Tri-County area. We want to make sure that you as a business owner, even if you're not, if you were able to tune into Mira Messam's chat, Facebook chat with Mira Messam last night, there was a business that said, well, what if my business is not in Miramar? That is why the virtual aspect of Bid Fit exists. We do, and we are, and he did not apologize, nor will I. There are additional measures that we put in place for local businesses. However, we are available as an agency and we welcome and we utilize the services of other businesses that do not have a place of business locally in the city. And so this virtual aspect of this bid is to extend the parameters throughout the Tri-County area of the services and to make sure that we are availing ourselves to all businesses because we do not discriminate. Our goal at Miramar, and especially through the Business Inclusion and Diversity Program, is to ensure that we make the same opportunities available to any and all businesses that desire to work with the City of Miramar. So in those Bid platforms that we do locally, we always have our Miramar Pembroke Crimes Chamber partner with us and join us at those local events. Well, it's important for us to have a chamber that this platform can have available to them as well. Of course, the Miramar Pembroke Crimes Chamber remains a critical partner with the City of Miramar and is available to everyone. If you have not gone onto their site, please do so. Some of you may be here because they actually did a blast of this with our flyer to invite businesses to ensure we have more inclusion in this series. Now, we invited the Black Chamber. I don't know if many of you know, we have a Black Business Chamber of Commerce, and it's being managed by Mr. and Mrs. Gelin. I'm not exactly sure. We did have Mrs. Gelin on. We've been patient with her because she has a son at home, and she's been doing the homeschooling as so many parents. My husband and I are fortunate, both our kids are in college, but now there are so many of you that are managing kids at home. And so I'm not exactly sure, Mike, are you on, or Mrs. Gelin, were you able to stay with us? She did let us know she may have. Hello, Mike Gelin. We have the co-partner with his wife, Mr. Mike Gelin. He's going to provide you with a little information about the Black Chamber. More importantly, the reason that we have them here is because we found through speaking with Attorney Gelin, his wife, that so many businesses, minority and micro businesses, in the solicitation process are not successful in securing and being awarded projects because they price themselves out of the project. Literally, they do not, and they're not as savvy as prime contractor in ensuring that the price that they're saying that they can do a job is in fact a price that's going to do two things: make sure that they're able to do it for that price and do it in a way that they're profitable. These projects, we don't just want you as a minority business to secure a project. We want you to be successful, and successful means making money. Unfortunately, you will see, and Mike, we've learned over the years, and your wife and I have talked about it extensively, so many businesses do not know how to properly price. And especially when the procurement director comes on and she talk about the solicitation like an invitation to bid, if you're not the lower price, then unfortunately, you more than likely will not be considered or the winner of that solicitation. Or there have been situations, Mike, where we have small businesses when that will come in lower on a bid and be the lowest bid, but then afterwards not be able to perform for the price that they gave because they're thinking that on the other side of the negotiation, they'll be able to come back and change the price. So this was something that we know and we've seen over the years. It's a challenge for minority businesses in the solicitation process, and we want to make this available and this information available to you. So Mike, to the extent, thank you for filling in for your wife. Do not worry. If you have any questions, again, this sheet is going to be made available to his wife, as well as Mike's information is going to be made available to you. So any questions that Mike cannot clearly answer at this time will be available and answered by his wife afterwards. Thank you so much, Mike, for joining us. Please take it away.
Sure. So Mike Gelin with the Gelin Benefits Group and also the membership chair for the Broward County Black Chamber of Commerce, which my wife started in August of 2018 during National Black Business Month. And we realized that Black business owners in Broward County needed a Chamber of Commerce to advocate on their behalf in order to assist them in securing large private sector contract and government contracts. So historically, Miami-Dade has had a Black Chamber of Commerce called the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce for a long time, over 10 years, and so has Palm Beach County. But there's never been a vehicle in Broward County. So my wife started that a few years ago. You can become a member either as a small business member or as an individual. Small business membership rate is $500. It covers 2 people. An individual sole proprietorship membership is $300, covers 1 person. And what we do is we understand everyone's business. We ask everyone to submit their headshot and a profile of their business, a 1-page profile of their business, which summarizes and captures everything you do. We ask them to provide their SIC code and their NAICS code so we can match them with the right opportunities with the right private and public sector contracts. And then we provide the training necessary to help them win a business. So you talk about pricing strategies. One of the things that we advise people to do when they're going after government contracts is to make a public records request for the last issued RFP for the services they provide, and to request the score sheet, the winning proposal, and the other proposal, so they can see how pricing ranks. In some instances, pricing may only be 15% of the total score. In other cases, it could be 30 or 40%, and so your pricing has to be aggressive. At the same time, you don't want to price yourself so low that you take away all your profit margins. So you may need to decide up front whether an opportunity is worthwhile for you based on what you've seen historically from other past bids. And so the great thing about going after government contracts is the transparency. Everything is out in the open for you to see. So for example, in my situation, I'm an insurance broker, and Broward College, they actually, and so does the school district of Palm Beach County, they actually forecast their RFPs going out for the next 6 months. So I learned of an opportunity with Broward College coming out soon. So I requested a copy of the last issued RFP, the score sheet, the winning proposals, and the losing proposals. I want to see why the selection committee ranked the losing proposals low so I can avoid that. I want to observe the questions that are in the RFP to determine if some of the questions are biased against small businesses. So that may be included, and you can talk to the procurement director about potentially moving or removing some questions that harm or discriminate against small businesses without the intention of doing it, but they're just so used to working with large businesses, the questions that they ask will harm small businesses. And so anyway, we work with members up and down and try to match them with other current members with opportunities, try to match them with private sector opportunities and public sector opportunities. So we've had events with Citrix Corporation, where they're trying to expand their diversity base. We've had events with Miramar, with Broward Health, with Broward Sheriff's Office, and we actually paired an accounting firm with Broward Health, and they got a nice contract with Broward Health. Broward Health is happy with the services of this small Black-owned accounting firm, but the accounting firm did not price their services properly. So they're being underpaid, they're doing a great job, but Broward Health cannot go back and renegotiate the contract. So they're stuck. I mean, they're happy to have the contract. They're happy to name Broward Health as a current client that'll help them to get more clients, but they're not making as large of a profit as they should make. In fact, they may not be making a profit at all because they underpriced their services. So it's very important to get copies of the last issued RFP, find out who priced low, who priced high, and figure out the pricing that works best for you. So I also serve as a commissioner in the city of Tamarack, and when we do RFPs, I notice that we almost always go with the lowest price bidder. And so you have to study the patterns of a city. And if they always go with the lowest price bidder, you have to figure out whether or not you can make a profit with that lowest price bidder. Anyway, I just want to encourage everyone, join the Broward County Black Chamber, get certified with all the certifying agencies in the state of Florida. So the state of Florida Office of Supply Diversity, Broward Health, Broward College, School Board of Broward County has a minority certification. Most of the other agencies only have a small business certification. In Tamarack, we just copied off Miramar and provide a local business preference and a small business preference program. It's not as aggressive as Miramar, which is what I push for. So for example, Miramar gives you 5 points if you're local and 5 points if you're small. Tamarack only gives 2.5 points if you're local or small. With Miramar, your points accumulate and you can have up to 10 points. With Tamarack, you'll either get 2.5 points if you're local or 2.5 points if you're small. So we're not as aggressive enough as we need to be because I don't have support on the commission. Hopefully that changes in a couple of election cycles. So that talks about the importance of voting for the right candidates that will support local, small, and minority businesses. So I hope to change that soon, but you want to get it certified with as many agencies as possible in Broward, Palm Beach, and Miami-Dade County. You want to get to know and have a spreadsheet list of all the procurement or purchasing directors of all the major agencies. And you want to talk to the department director, if possible, for some of the major agencies and let them know you're available, let them know that you provide the service. Some of them are not going to want to talk to you because they don't want to be biased, but you want to try and introduce yourself as much as possible. Get to know the elected officials, talk to them about your service, ask them for an appointment with a department director, and just utilize all the services that you can. And I was just on a call last week with a group called the South Florida Anchor Alliance. So Miami-Dade County, Broward Health, Broward College, all these big anchor institutions combined between Miami-Dade, Palm Beach, and Broward County, they spend $3.7 billion. And they are, because of the pandemic, they are making a stronger and a bigger effort. And you can go to the South Florida Anchor Alliance website to spend money with local, small, and minority businesses. This pandemic has revealed the disparities among the different groups of people who are suffering. And so now they're making a stronger and a concerted effort to make sure they open up opportunities to local, small, and minority businesses. They have an action plan on their website, and they're really going to make an effort to make sure we spend locally and we spend with diverse vendors, because they know if you spend with diverse vendors of women, of Hispanics, of Blacks, then that increases the wealth of the civil population. You have more people who can spend money and improve the overall economy. So that's all I have to say. Thank you very much for your time. And please visit the Broward County Black Chamber of Commerce website, Facebook page, social media pages, and get active and get involved.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. I thought I was in love with your wife. Oh my God, great information, great information. Mr. Gelin, seriously, I cannot, I thank you so much. I'm so happy you were able to give an actual example of unfortunate, it breaks my heart when I hear that companies price themselves out and they're entered into a contract that they have to abide by because they have that, and unfortunately, they're not making any money. and we can do better. We need to educate them. We need to provide one of the components of the Business Inclusion and Diversity Program. We really believe that knowledge is power, and we want to educate you because we do not want that happening to any business. It is unacceptable. That is why this series exists. That is why we're reaching out to our community partners and the experts in the industry that can come and partner with the city and give you valuable information so that you can position yourselves. I love it. You do not have to guess this. If you're looking to go for a proposal, did you hear Mr. Gelin? And someone has had the proposal for the last 10 years, 1 year, 2 years. It's a public agency. You can do a public records request and literally ask for that information. It doesn't have to be guesswork. If you do not know how to price a project, go get the information. Look at how it was priced before, especially if it's an organization that's been on board for the agency for the last decade and things of that nature. Ensure and empower yourself with enough information to always be able to make an informed decision. You have community partners like the Black Chamber that are there, ready, available. There are so many benefits to membership. Not only, if you were listening, he also said they have major contributors to the Black Chamber that are now looking, agencies and organizations that are looking in this new pandemic to be able to empower and to use more Black businesses. So membership has its values. If they come looking to Attorney Gelin or Mike Gelin and saying we're looking for minority businesses, who are they going to write? They're not going to call Director Dr. Hollis, can you give me your list? No, they're going to look at their membership drive first, rightfully so. Just like the mayor didn't apologize last night for taking care of local businesses here in the city of Miramar, you're not going to find agencies and chambers that are going to apologize for when these major corporations and contributors reach out to them to send their membership list first. So you want to make sure that you and your company are on that list. Thank you again, Mike Gelin. Go ahead. You had something else you wanted to say? You're muted, sir. If you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, I was listening earlier when we were talking about accounting, and that's very critical. And I heard when you said that a lot of businesses did not nationally did not qualify for the CARES Act funding because they didn't have their finances together. There's a local company here called Xendoo, Xendoo, and there's also QuickBooks that will do bookkeeping and payroll for you for as little as $200 a month. And it's important to have those financial statements. You still need an accountant, but you may also need a bookkeeper to manage the books, get monthly statements on a monthly basis, and then work with your CPA to optimize your finances. But it's critical to have a payroll system, whether it's QuickBooks. I use a company called Gusto, and when the CARES Act came out, they automatically had the report prepared for me to apply for the CARES Act funding. And so it's very important to have the basics in place, or you lose out on opportunities like the CARES Act.
Before, failing to plan is planning to fail. My grandmother taught us when we were children, opportunities will always present themselves. The time to prepare is before the opportunity comes, because you may not get the chance afterwards. Thank you, Mr. Gelin, a true politician. I have to stop him from talking. And more than that, I want them to reach out to you after this webinar. So we got to give them something to want to call you for. Thank you again, Mr. Gelin. We really appreciate it. Do not forget the benefits of affiliation with the chamber. Next, we're preparing solicitation responses. That's fine. We will go to our next presenter. We have Ms. Telena Paris, another Black-owned business. Small business. Telena Paris is the owner of Right Choice Consulting Firm. And this is a strategic, Right Choice Consulting is a small business that assists other minority and small businesses in being able to secure, from writing proposals for anything from getting those grants, those PPP loans. And we also reach out to her because she's one of those small businesses that I am so proud of, that she continues to evolve and extend her service offerings to be able to meet the needs, whatever the needs should be, especially during this pandemic, of the minority business community. Now, one of the things that we find now in trying to do this series, most businesses, unfortunately, like it was alluded to at the beginning with Mr. Watson, I believe, they don't have the same capacity as the major prime contractors that have businesses and individuals that they're paying on a salary basis to do nothing but write responses to solicitations. And with that power comes the ability for prime contractors to be able to timely submit solicitations, to be able to ensure that their solicitations are stellar and they're able to compete at a capacity that minority and small businesses just haven't been able to do. We're seeking to close that gap. Telena Paris and the Right Choice Consulting Firm is a perfect partner with the city of Miramar, whereby if you are not able to literally, we got your new presentation, to literally be able to write the response to a solicitation, don't feel that is a barrier to stop you from responding. We want to equip you with as many partners, services, and tools that will make sure that you have everything that you need should you decide to participate in the solicitation process. Telena Paris, thank you again for partnering with us. And if you can please take it away and tell them a little more about your services, your company, and how you can assist them in preparing solicitation responses. Go ahead, Telena.
Hi, thank you so much, Dr. Hollis, and everyone else that's on this panel. I appreciate it. It's been really interesting listening to all the responses and how we aid our small businesses. And, and being a small business myself, I know what it takes and the stress that can come along with trying to sustain your business, especially during this time of a pandemic. So today we're going to be talking about preparing solicitation responses. We want you to get access to that capital. And some of the things that you just want to, it's going to sound a little redundant, but you just want to kind of pay attention to are the things that are necessary. What do I need to be able to win a winning or have a winning proposal and be able to get access to those funds? One of the things you said, Dr. Hollis, earlier is that people were not eligible to get lending during this time of the pandemic because they didn't do their due diligence, So giving a quick shout out to all of our panelists here. Thank you so much for bringing this pertinent information to our audience, because there were so many. We were assisting people with PPP and getting them set up so that they can make sure that they had access to the funding, and they fell short. Why is this so important when it comes to solicitations? Well, that same documentation that was needed for PPP, the same documentations that was needed for EDIL, the same documentations that were needed for those grant opportunities that are out there that your cities and local governments are doing, is the same information that you need for solicitations, just so that you know. So they run hand in hand. So if you were one of those lucky small businesses that gained access and received funding in one of those various capacities, kudos to you. But for those who are listening that did not qualify, this is not the end of the game for you. Okay, now we can learn how to do better. We can come together and learn, meet with our chamber, our local chamber of commerce, the Black Chamber of Commerce of Broward County. Giving a shout out to Mike and his team. Meet with FSB. FSB had an amazing capability statement that was up on the screen. If you go back and review this presentation, that is identical to something that you're going to need when registering to do your solicitation process. The goal here today is just to kind of quickly talk to you about understanding different types of that solicitation process and how we could respond appropriately to the government solicitations. So, as we go through, one of the things that you want to really think about is defining what you do. What is it that you do? And then also being flexible, being a flexible thinker, especially now more so than ever, that you may have to pivot, your style of business. If you were once doing only cleaning, maybe you might want to think about taking that to another level and helping out the government entities or cleaning for sanitation purposes or different things like that. These are things that you can really think about evolving into. I can give you a bunch of different examples, but right now let's stay focused with some of the things that you need. So defining what you do is effectively. Making sure that you're registered. You've been hearing this terminology of SAMs or maybe even a cage code that's probably been introduced to you before. In order for you to get your cage code, you need to do the following first. So I'm gonna kind of prep you to get you to the SAMs.gov stage. In order for you to be able to bid with the government, you must first be registered with your state, your city, your county. You need to also have your EIN number, which comes by way of being able to register with those entities. Then you need to make sure you have your DUNS number. You've been hearing DUNS number. Duns and Bradstreet is how you actually obtain business credit, not just your personal credit. If you're one of those small businesses that are out there that are just focusing and utilizing your personal credit and your credit's taking you ahead, You need to evolve into using your business credit for your business. And there are ways to do that. We have strong credit repair companies here that are on our panel today. Please, reach out to them or just ask us questions. Make sure you ask the questions and have a support system. You want to make sure that once you have all that, then you can then register for stamps.gov, because in order to be able to get a cage code, which allows you to bid, you must have the DUNS number, you must have the EI number, and you must be registered with all those entities I mentioned before. All right, once you've done that, you want to make sure you do your different searches. There is dynamic small business searches out there, the DSBS that's out there. There are a multitude of services, grants.gov, we have BidSync, and I have a listing of a few of other ones that I'll mention in a few minutes. Just making sure that you have an organizational budget, extremely important. A lot of times you'll see people come with a program budget or a project budget, but however, it is not in direct continuity with their organizational budget. It's something that they build out. We call that just for a project. And sometimes it could lead to mission creeping, which just means, simply put, that you're not staying true to your mission or your vision. You're going after dollars because it's available, but maybe it's not pertinent to what you do. So that's why defining what you do is so important. And then also, we talked about tax preparation, extremely important. Please do your taxes, but above all, please pay your taxes, okay? Don't just write off everything. Let me explain to you, simply put, what happened. We had quite a few businesses that contacted us, and they were quick to write off everything. I know you're small. I know some of you all are even micro businesses out there, and you're like, I don't want to pay taxes, so I'm gonna write off everything, and therefore I'll make sure that I am sometimes, I have a deficit of some sort, so I don't have to pay as much taxes. Pay your taxes, because that's going to be your benefit. So the businesses that paid their taxes, they got the most return when it came down to assistance, governmental assistance, and any other assistance that came through during this pandemic time. So making sure you pay your taxes on time. Besides the pandemic, just pay your taxes on time. Make sure you stay in good standing. And then also make sure, one thing we don't really talk about a lot, if you are bidding with the government and you have any outstanding legal issues that are happening with your business name tied to it, clear it up, clean it up. And when you get ready to bid, acknowledge the fact that you have had some issues that happen and state it inside the bid. Do not say that you didn't have any type of legal issues, whether it's an eviction. I mean, let's be real, we're dealing with foreclosure, whatever it may be. And during this time that might be associated with your business, be very clear and then explain what happened. It doesn't mean you lose the bid. It just means that you're staying credible and that you're transparent about what's happening with your business, and you're showing how you've grown beyond that and how you were able to sustain past that point. It's not always an end all be all there. And I'm sure Dawn can probably speak to that fact as she come up here, coming up here pretty soon with the Office of Economic Small Business Development. All right, I am getting close to my time, which is right on time. So I wanted to kind of also lead you with knowing your classification codes is extremely important. They're called the North American Industry Classification System, and it's also known as NAICS codes. This is how you identify what products or services that you have. These numbers, you don't just have one most of the time. You might have a multitude of them that would allow you to bid in various areas for your business, giving you multiple streams of revenue. Extremely important. Just reiterating, DUNS number, cage number, extremely important. And then knowing what facilities and what facility and location you're going to be doing and performing your services and developing your products in. Some of those government opportunities, if you're listening, that you can actually find these locations are going to be at, it used to be known formerly as FBO.gov, but it's now known as beta.sam.gov, which will list different federal contracting opportunities that are out there. And then we also have BidSync. And then we also have the ones in the city of Miramar. I believe it's Demand Star or something, if I'm not mistaken. And so check out with your city, your local government, if you're outside of the area paying attention to this particular webinar, and see which systems that they're using. But the federal system is across the board. So just make sure you type into beta .sam.gov. That's a really good one. And just remember that even if you're not a prime on the contract, being a sub on a contract is really beneficial too. You don't always have to be the lead on a project to make the revenue that is needed. Sometimes you come out really good having multiple projects being a subcontractor. It's a really good place to start if you're starting out and you're not able to get bonded yourself. Maybe you can go underneath as a subcontractor with a prime. So some things just to think about and put out there for you all. Just use your procurement vehicles. And last but not least, Paul, you can put up our page on the last slide there that shows you how to contact us. We encourage you to follow us on Facebook, social media, and LinkedIn, Instagram, you name it, we're on it. Google, we're all out there. And feel free to give us a call. We provide initial consultations free at no charge to you, and we'd love to talk to you soon. Thank you, Dr. Hollis. Thank you, everyone else on this panel, for allowing us to be here today. I hope that we were able to offer you a smidgen of information that would be most beneficial. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you. As usual, you did not disappoint, Telena. Now, this is a sheet we will be including. I'm not sure if you will be making available that entire presentation, but I am asking online. And if so, it will be included. But I know you for a fact that the sheet that you see on the screen will be presented in a part of the presentation that we make available to you. One of the things that Telena mentioned is the NAICS codes. So many businesses are not able to take advantage of every opportunity that's being released from an agency because they have not included the proper NAICS codes. For example, if in fact there's so many businesses that are reinventing themselves and adding aspects, now they're selling PPEs. If you had a NAICS codes that were in there pre-COVID and you've expanded your services, you need to go back into your vendor registration process, which is why we did vendor registration last month. That webinar is available on our website, and we can make available to you to review because it's important. With vendor registration and the codings that you input and the information that you provide to agencies, this is the information that when we get to Director Ayum, they use when they're sending out solicitations. Every business that are communicated to them that this is the service that I do, this is the product that I sell, you will automatically receive an email. If you've expanded your services, you need to go back and update your vendor registration to include the additional NAICS codes that you now offer, to include the additional tools and goods that you now provide. Because without current information and all of the information that describes who you are as a business, you're not going to position Telena Paris to be in a better position to help you. You're not going to have Gladys from the bonding agency with sufficient information to be able to help you. You're not going to have Xander Financial and place them in a position to adequately assist you. So before you go out paying for services to get assistance in getting your business to grow and making sure you position yourself to maximize the benefit of all of these services, please, please, please take a moment, look at your finances, make sure that you clearly and articulately define who you are. Remember, one of the things that Telena says, FSB, what they had on was a capability statement. Perfect tool. You're going to get that as an example. Use it as an example to be able to develop. You will see on her capability statement, she lists the NAICS codes that her company qualify under. So you will be able to use that. We're going to provide it to you as an example for how to create your own. Thank you again for that. Now we see that Director Ayum, I can hear you. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. We have been talking, and I know you've been on the entire time about procurement this, the solicitation this, responding this. Once you sign that contract, you can't come back and call Director Ayum and say, I didn't price it correctly. Director Ayum, can you let me do it for a cheaper price? She will speak to you directly about what it is that she and her team do, the wonderful work that they do to ensure that the city of Miramar is available to all minority companies that want to do business, and make sure that you understand a little more about how to position yourself to be able to do and extrapolate work with the city of Miramar more effectively. Without further ado, Director Ayum, take it away.
Okay, hi guys, hi everyone. Hope I didn't keep anybody back by having this little delay. I'm going to just start by saying, our department is a diversified team, and the most important thing is that we stress on a fair and competitive process. It's our goal, it's our mission every day when we, get behind that desk, is to make sure that we have looked at everything as fairly, that it can be bid fairly, and everybody has an opportunity. So I'm not seeing the slides yet, Paul, but I'll also start with this year, just a couple months ago, the procurement department went through a little code change. So we tried to make things a little bit more, open for local businesses and for small businesses as well. The threshold has been lifted. Right now we are at 5,000 without competition. So we still encourage departments to, of course, as much as possible, use local businesses, use small businesses for all those quotations that they might do under 5,000. So under 5,000, there's no competition required. 7,500 is for Miramar businesses. So it's really a good opportunity if you're a local business. The departments don't necessarily have to get quotes. They can go straight to their local businesses and offer them, here, we have some work to be done. 7,500 we can go up to with our local businesses. Next slide, Paul. No, there's one right before, which kind of gives the thresholds. I wanted to have everybody see that. Yes, this one. Anything over 5,000 to 10,000, they're requiring 3 quotes. Anything 10,000 to 75,000, we get a minimum of 3 written quotations. Now, anything over 10,000 to 75, the procurement department manages. So that we put a little bit of formality in it. We put a little bit more requirements for insurance, for all the minimum qualifications that the department might be looking for, but it's still written quotation. Most of the time, the departments handle the small ones under 10,000, but 10,000 and above, procurement manages to give it just a little bit more formality for the quotations. Then anything over $75,000, they're formally advertised. They have to be advertised in accordance with all the procurement rules in a newspaper of general circulation. They're advertised in Demand Star, and we also as well send out to any known vendors and to all our local businesses. Okay, next slide. So the gist of what Karen wanted me to discuss today was the types of solicitations. I know you guys are hearing my birds in the background. They're being very noisy right now. I'm going to try to move a little bit. So we have request for quotation. It's a method used for the purchase of small dollar goods and services. It's up to that $75,000 limit where it's not as formal. And those are for specific goods, for specific services where we know exactly what we want. And we are going with the award of the lowest bidder. And it typically, it's an easier process. It's not as detailed. The solicitation is probably 8-9 pages. And the award is awarded to the lowest responsive bidder. The next solicitation is the invitation for bid. So the invitation for bid is a little bit more formal. It's the method used when we have a threshold that we know is going to exceed $75,000. That's for maybe citywide purchases. It could be directly for something that one of the departments needs, but it's for the goods, services, and construction. We typically use an invitation for bid. There's a specific and defined scope of work with an ISB. I always encourage small businesses to attend the pre-bid meetings for large invitation for bids. It may not be something that you can do yourself, but it gives you an opportunity to team up with maybe some of the bigger firms that you could probably be a sub on that project. So the invitation for bid is typically out for a longer period of time. It is a little bit more formal. There are a bunch of forms that need to be filled out. Don't let the forms intimidate you. It's really a matter of formality, and once you just follow the instructions, it's really pretty easy. Again, we advertise Demand Star, newspaper, we send it out to local businesses or any known vendors, and again, it's awarded to the lowest responsible and responsive bidder. I've come across in my time where I've had to disqualify a firm, and it's not very often, but I always encourage, when you attend a pre-bid, ask the questions. It doesn't hurt to, say, hey, you asked for 5 years of service or 5 years of reference information. We only have 3. It doesn't hurt to ask. It doesn't hurt. It could be that the city may lower that requirement for the business. It could be we may change it from 5 years to 3 years. So always attend the pre-bid and ask the questions, even though it may seem that to you it might be a no. You never know. It's good to ask and attend the pre-bid and get the information that might help you get a part of the project. So the next type of solicitation is a request for proposal. A request for proposal is typically used. It's a formal method as well, but it's used for the purchase of goods and services when a scope of work is not completely defined. It's like we want to buy something, but we don't know or have all the information about it, but we know generally what the outcome is supposed to look like, what we'd like to accomplish. So with a request for proposal, we send out a semi-defined scope of work or a general scope of work, and we have criteria factors like, what kind of methodology, what are your resources, what's the price, but then these are assigned points. So we don't necessarily go with the lowest bid as we do in the invitation for bid or the request for quotation. We go based on points, and the highest ranked proposer is awarded for the request for proposal. It's definitely not only based on price. It's not the only criteria. It could be the combination of the methodology, the number of years, the qualifications, the price, and a number of other different criteria. It depends on the type of solicitation that we're soliciting or the type of service we're soliciting for. And then the award is recommended to the highest rated responsible and responsive proposer that was ranked the highest at that point when they've done a committee and we've had everybody look at all the proposals and rank them accordingly. So last but not least, that's typically used is the request for qualifications. This is a method used to obtain qualifications from consulting firms typically. It's used mostly with our construction architects and engineers, where we follow, all the rules of soliciting for qualifications and not price, because at this point price is not an issue. We're just trying to find the most qualified firm. Once we find the most qualified firm, then again we recommend an award based on their qualifications. And moving forward, if we have the need for a solicitation from either of those firms that are pre-qualified, then we could easily do another RFP for what we specifically are looking for, or we negotiate with one of the top ranked firms. It depends on where it is, because sometimes we use the request for qualifications to pre-qualify vendors for a library. We may have a library of utility engineers, a library of architects, a library of traffic engineers, and then we pre-qualify them and hold them in a library for like 2 years until we redo that solicitation. So next slide, Paul. I wanted to also just point out that, we, in our procurement process, and I heard somebody mention it before, we do offer preference points. They're applied to all of our competitive purchases. So any one of those solicitations that I previously mentioned, they all have preference points. There's a 5% preference point for Miramar businesses. There's a 5% preference points for CBE firms or small business firms. And let me just give you an example of how that works. Let's just say you think, oh, it's just a quote, how is that going to help me? Well, guess what? If we have received 3 quotes and the lowest firm is a firm from Jacksonville. And then the next firm is a local business, and he is within 5% of the Jacksonville firm. He gets the job. That preference is granted to him because he was within 5% of that price from Jacksonville. So just to give you an example of how it works, you know, we apply those for even our RFPs. There's 5 points, just like I was suggesting with the RFPs. There are points applied to the criteria. You get 5 points for local business. You get 5 points for the CBE. You get 20 points for price. You get 15 points for qualifications. The points will help those vendors in, you know, being maybe ranked the highest ranked vendor at that point. So there's a whole lot to procurement. I just wanted to give you a quick snapshot of the types of solicitations that we commonly use and that, you know, we do support with our preferences. Thank you very much. That's it.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Alicia. Now you're going to see and understand why we definitely, Dawn will be coming up with our CBE and SBE certifications, because you see, she's going to tell you about the benefits of being certified, but we first wanted you to understand the benefits you get directly from the City of Miramar through the solicitation process for those two particular certifications that are going to be showcased later by Dawn Marshall. Thank you so much, Alicia. So many businesses do not understand ITB, RFQ, RFP. We will be providing you with this information so that you can be equipped and understand, because you will not know how to respond if you don't understand what Director Ayum and her team are looking for. If it's an RFQ, remember, that's not one of the ones that she's looking for necessarily the lowest price. She's trying to extrapolate information. So then you got so many businesses that call Director Ayum, why didn't I win? I had the lowest price. I looked at all of the bids. Well, unfortunately, that wasn't an ITB. They were not looking for the lowest price. They were looking for qualifications. So you need to understand what it is that the information they're trying to extrapolate before responding, to ensure that you're competitively positioning yourself to succeed. One of the things that thing that businesses don't realize that prime contractors take advantage of a lot is, after the bid and everything is done and the bid awarded, you can ask to meet with a member of Director Ayum's team to find out why. Why didn't I win? What did I do wrong? This is huge. You can't keep doing the same thing and expecting a different result. If you have one proposal that you've written 15 years ago and you just continue to submit it, and you submitted it for different types of qualifications, you just learned through that presentation that they're looking for different types of information based on the type of solicitation that's released. So you can't always just assume and think that one proposal is going to work for every solicitation. We cannot stress that enough. Again, once it's all over and said and done, contact the Director Ayum. She and her information will be included on the contact sheet. We're trying to give you a wealth of information of people and resources you can reach out to ensure you're positioning yourself to succeed. More importantly, she gave a hint. Remember, I told you, why do we need 4 different webinars on this? First of all, we want you to go and try to get certified. We want you to go and implement these things. We want you to go and try to get pre-qualified. Then come back with any questions that you have for Mr. Watson and for Gladys Smith and so on and so forth, because they are personal. You need to do that on your own. But more importantly, we want to make sure that you understand some additional things. So like the library that the City of Miramar makes available, we are working to have someone that can give you a little more information about what that library of consultants is all about in the procurement process. So that is why you want to tune in for the next one. So now we're giving you the basic overview of procurement, but we want you to know that there are different library of consultants that the City of Miramar make available to businesses, and you will learn about that in other series. So make sure you continue to come back for our next one. Moving along today, we talked a little bit about how do you position and what it is that the procurement department is looking for On the flyer that we used to get you here, we said, come and learn about, we're gonna have the 30% goal that the city of Miramar will be applying to upcoming projects. Now, that is the next one. We have one of the engineers that's on board, Miss Leah DeRiel. She is a professional engineer with the city of Miramar. She's actually the senior project engineer for the city. And she's in charge of all of the surtax transportation capital improvement projects for the city of Miramar. We needed her on this panel because we said to you that we would give you information. So many businesses have never, ever looked at a scope of work. So coming to those pre-bid meetings, what Director Ayum talked about, you're going to get to see scope of work. You're going to get to see primes and subcontractors. Unfortunately, a lot of minority and micro businesses don't look at scopes of work ahead of time to see where if I can walk up to a prime contractor and say, here's a portion of the prime scope of work that I know that my business can help you. That is much more valuable to a prime contractor than, hi, can I be on your team? We're trying to position you to be able to promote your business in a more professional, productive, in a way that can help you to be more successful on every level, especially when you go forward to try to look at these scopes of work, see where you fit in, understand what a scope of work looks like, and understand how it is that these projects that are going to be released will be made available to you and to what extent. So having Ms. Leah on board, Leah, thank you so much for joining us today. Without further ado, if you could just go over what I promised them we would make available to them, the project scope for the upcoming surtax project. Thank you, Leah. Take it away.
Thank you for the introduction, Karen. Wanted to highlight 4 different upcoming projects that we have for you guys. They're capital improvement roadway related projects. So the first upcoming project and the most major is the Pembroke Road extension to US 27 and Miramar Parkway expansion to Pembroke Road. Right now, Pembroke Road stops at 196th Avenue and it's 2 lanes from Dykes to 196th. Dykes is Southwest 160th. So the upcoming scope of this project is going to be widening Pembroke Road from 160th all the way out to 196th, extending that to US 27, and extending Miramar Parkway from where it ends at Southwest 192nd Terrace north to meet Pembroke Road. So that design project, that's a design scope project that will let at the end of this year. That schedule is, there's a little bit of play in that, but expect that to come and that notification to come via Demand Star towards the end of this year. There's, like I said, there's the 3 design segments, the section from 160th to 196, 196 to US 27, and Miramar Parkway to Pembroke Road. Now, Pembroke Road will turn into a 4-lane typical section, and Miramar Parkway will be a 2-lane typical section. The design components that are involved with this project are going to be landscaping, irrigation, lighting, drainage, buffered bike lanes, sidewalks, noise walls, pavement marking, and signage. It's also going to include some utilities, so reclaimed water line, regular water line, and sanitary sewer lines in each of those areas. Now, I know some of you guys may not be designers, some of you all may be construction contractors. The construction contract for this is expected to follow within about 2 years of the letting of the design contract. So keep that in mind if you're in construction. Now, the other 3 projects that we have coming up for you guys are design service and planning service contracts. The first one is bus shelter improvements. This includes the design of 13 bus shelters throughout the city limits. There's going to be a large bus shelter design and a medium-sized bus shelter design. Like I said, that's design services. The other 2 projects are bike lane projects. The third project that we have is the Pembroke Road bike lanes from State Road 7 to Island Drive. This is a planning services contract. So that's the development and analysis of conceptual design alternatives for buffered bike lanes from, like I said, State Road 7 to Island Drive along Pembroke Road. The 4th project that we have coming out is Pembroke Pembroke Road bike lanes from Palm Avenue to Douglas Road. This is a design services contract. So this includes the design of buffered bike lanes along both the north and south sides of Pembroke Road from Palm Avenue to Douglas. Now, we've been talking a little bit on this panel about CBE and SBE participation. All 4 of these projects are funded through the Broward County surtax funds, and Broward County has mandated 30% CBE SBE participation for our most major contract. That's the Pembroke Road extension to US 27 and Miramar Parkway extension to Pembroke Road. That project has a 30% participation goal. The other 3 projects have a 0% participation goal. However, we still welcome and encourage all bidders. So if you're DBE, if you're a CBE, if you're an SBE, we still welcome you and encourage you to bid on any or all of those projects as you're comfortable with those scopes of work. For the last 3 projects, the bus shelters and the 2 bike lanes projects, construction, for my contractors who are out there, construction should follow within about a year. So again, all of these contracts, we expect them to let about the end of the year, give or take. They will come through Demand Star, and that's it. Any questions, you feel free to call our engineering services office. You can contact me or any one of the folks over there. The direct line to my office is 954-602-3356 if you want to further discuss some of the scopes of these projects. And with that, I'll pass back to you, Karen.
Excellent, Leah. And her contact information will be on the final page, which you will see to this presentation, with her email and telephone number. Again, we told you on the flyer that we would talk to you a little bit about the 30, come and learn about the 30% percentage goal that's going to be attached to upcoming surtax projects. We did not give you the benefit of knowing. We're literally going to provide you with an outline of the scope of work for each of those. Right now, we're in the design phase. And you heard earlier from Mr. Watson that pre-qualification is required for the majority of design phases. We are happy to know, thanks to Leah, the more I learn and participate on these webinars, I know the right questions to ask. No pre-qualification, FDOT pre-qualifications, correct, Leah, will be required on any of the City of Miramar surtax projects. However, we learned from Mr. Watson that having that FDOT pre-qualification, even in the design phase, it will make you look more advantageous to a prime contractor that's looking to partner with someone. If you have both the same quality, skills, experience, everything, but one have a pre-qualification from FDOT, if a prime contractor could, we don't know, elect to choose the one with the pre-qualification. What is it? Just another vetting system that lets the prime contractor know that an agency has literally looked at or taken a closer look at your organization and given it a somewhat stamp of approval that you've demonstrated through your supplication or submission of documentation that you're probably a more likely person that's going to be able to follow through on the commitments that you make if you were to join your team. Leah, I cannot thank you enough. I'm so excited about continuing to have you on this. One of the things that the diversity study made well aware to the City of Miramar is that minority contractors need more notification to be able to successfully bid on solicitations. That's a huge barrier for minority contractors. And so you heard those construction projects not going to be released until next year, and some even 2 years after. We're giving you the scope of work well ahead of time. You can develop systems, create teams, reach out to individuals that you think you can partner with. We want to give you as much information so that you can make an informed decision and prepare ahead of time. You heard that the design things that she has included on that sheet, which you will get, won't be released until the end of this year. We wanted to make sure, because a lot of times when the solicitation is released by Dr. Ayum, Director Ayum and her team, you have 45 days to respond. That's not a barrier at that time. You have to respond within the required time that solicitation lists. No accommodation will be made for you if you're not able to do so timely. So this is why these segments are so important. We're going to continue to release information. And so many people said over and over about CBE and SBE certifications. which leads us to our next very patient presenter, Ms. Dawn Marshall. She is, when you look at her name on her thing, you will see CCA and MPA. She is actually a certified compliance administrator, and she has a master's in Dawn, you're gonna have to help me.
Public administration.
Public administration, and I told you ahead of time, but I'm talking so bad. She has a master's, so she is definitely an expert in her area. She's with the Office of Ed. Dawn, if you can hold it on me for just a second. She's with the Office of Economic and Small Business Development, so a little bit about OESBD. They are small business focused with the county. Remember, the city of Miramar is a subset of Broward County, which is why we accept Broward County certifications. And as you can see, we partner with them on strategic platforms like the Surtax project. OEFBC also promotes business growth and job creation, just like the BID program and the Economic Development Department. They educate businesses with tips and tools needed to succeed. And they also work and partner with community stakeholders like the city of Miramar to be able to see if we can collaborate and provide our services and make it that much stronger to how we help businesses. Without further ado, I'd like to present this on and reintroduce to others, Ms. Dawn Marshall. Thank you, Dawn, for coming on. Take it away.
Thank you, Dr. Hollis, and I'm glad that you showed up, that the attendees, that you showed up for this webinar. And you've heard a lot about the CBE and the SBE certification. I'm going to talk to you about the eligibility. And first of all, SBE, that means the small business enterprise, and CBE is the county business enterprise. And some of the eligibility criteria are: you must have a Broward County tax receipt. You must have a physical address in Broward County, no post office box, no business service center. You must employ at least one employee, but for certification purposes, count yourself as an employee, because sometimes the small businesses have just one. You are everything. And applicants must have a continuous operating presence in Broward County. Some of the other eligibility requirements are your personal net worth can be no more than 1.32 million, and your gross revenue it depends on what category you're in. If you're in construction for the SBE, your gross receipt for the last 3 years, the average gross receipt can be no more than $3 million. And for the CBE, it can be no more than $9 million. If you're a janitor, your lawn, if you take care of the lawn maintenance, those would fall under contractual services. And the SBE average gross receipts for those would be is $1 million. And for the CBE, the maximum is $5 million. That's really all I have, other than to mention that the 30% gold for the surtax projects are only for eligible, the 30% CBE goal are only for eligible projects. Projects are reviewed based on the scope of work and the CBE availability. So some projects may have more than 30% goal and some may have less. That's all I have for you as far as eligibility, but I really wanted to share with you some things that, after having been a small business specialist for over 8 years, that I find that minority firms, owners, they lack the knowledge as far as what they would need to start a business or to grow a business. And our office, we have an economic development division, and they offer technical services. So if you're a small business and you really don't know where to go or the information that you should know, you can call our office and request to make an appointment with one of our small business development specialists. some of the things that I find that small businesses, things that they should know, but they don't know. And of course, you know, you don't know what you don't know. So that's why you need to attend some of our workshops or make an appointment to come into our offices, because like someone mentioned earlier about the balance sheet and the income statement, I've had business owners that I've walked them through the application, and I've explained to them that if you don't have your current taxes, that you need to provide a current balance sheet or an income statement. And they look at me and, what's that? Now, you know, if you've been in business, you really should at least speak to someone who owns a business, or use one of these, one of the people on the panelist that provides these information, because really there's no reason why you shouldn't know, you know, what some of these terms are. And lastly, I want to share with you that I had one business owner who bidded on a project, and he called me. He didn't win the contract, but he called me to complain that that he was missing something, you know, something that they requested. Even though he missed it, he felt that he should have won. He still should have won the bid. So, you know, and I explained to him, when they request certain things, you have to provide it. You just can't, I don't have it, and then you just submit it. That's not going to work, because they're not going to consider you for the bid. So that's all I have, Karen, for now. Thank you.
Excellent, Dawn. Thank you so much. The way that I say it more clearly and definitively, and I don't mean any disrespect, these are not entitlement programs. You desire for us as leaders to present you to our organizations. You desire for the Dawns and Director Ayum to go to the leaders and say, this is the responsive bidder. Okay, no one is going to do that. Here's a business you should consider and for a 3 quote. Here's an individual that you should consider. We vetted it. You have FDOT, Mr. Watson. He will go to none of us are going to go and present an organization that has not gone above and beyond the call of duty to at least meet the requirements that are expected. These are not entitlement programs. These programs have specific guidelines. We are the protector of public dollars, which means we have the responsibility to ensure that we're not just securing a Black business or a woman-owned business or a small business or a micro business. The words you heard that came out of Director Ayum's mouth are the responsive and responsible bidder. That means you have done what is expected of you to be competitively considered as the winner of that bid. When you do that, you will have no worries whatsoever about any of these panel members, including Director Ayum or any leader in any organization, coming back and providing the support and information that you need to not only secure the project, but once you get on the project, you will see that there are additional services and resources in place to ensure that you are successful once you secure the bid. Now, last but not least, it would behoove us to secure this opportunity to not only let you know about all of the things you need to do to prepare yourself, but we also need you to know we are looking for contractors that we can include. Prime contractors are constantly reaching out. Director Hollis, can you provide me with a list of your contractors? I want you to be on that list. When the next prime contractor reaches out to me and say, can you provide a list of available minority contractors? Can you provide a list of plumbers, electricians, design scope, asphalt, what have you? I want your name on that list. We have Paul Najorhe. He is a member of our team. He is the one that's always so intricate in helping me with the webinars, but more importantly, he is now going to provide you with some information as to how you can be included on the BID, Business Inclusion and Diversity Program, contractor database. Paul, without further ado, thank you for your patience. Take it away.
Thank you, Dr. Kay. I appreciate it. Let's just jump into it, looking at the time. What is the BID contractor database? In simple, it's an online form that's hosted by the BID team. And what we do with that information is we keep you up to date on upcoming events, opportunities, and many more. Just to echo what Dr. Karen said, is when agencies request a database of contractors that they can use on a project, when they request it from Dr. K, we send them that. So it's very important that you register as soon as possible, and also ask your friends to register, as well as other contractors who are looking for subcontractors to meet their goals. They call on Dr. K almost every day. Hey, can you send me your list? Can you send me a list? So the more we can improve on that list, the better for us. Now, who can submit this? Who can submit in this form? Well, if you're listening to this and you're part of our attendee, I suggest that you're one of those people who needs to fill out the forms. So what happens is we're looking for willing and able companies that are willing to take on projects within their fields. And those are the people that we're looking to submit the information in there. Now, why? I can only echo what Dr. Karen said, is it's our job to make sure that we put you on the front line of opportunities. Yes. So other than that, you're going to be receiving that form when we do send you the webinar and all the attachments. And you're more than welcome to contact me with the email below if you have any questions. Thank you.
Excellent, Paul. And we did good time. I respect your time. We understand as a business that you're continuing to try to keep your business afloat and open and operating during this pandemic season. We also respect the fact that you care enough to come on to partner with us to learn about the information that we're making available to you. Everything that we're trying to do here at the City of Miramar is to equip and to let you know two things. Number one, the city is open and available and operating. We're just doing it remotely, and sometimes we're doing it more virtually. Another reason is we want you to know that we are here for you. We're continuing to develop programs and services to ensure more inclusion, more diversity, and to ensure that you have transparency and availability to participate in the contracting opportunities that are going to continue to be made available through the City of Miramar. Please, we cannot stress it enough. We're going to give you this panel of contact information as well as all of the presentations that were made available today. We're going to make that available to you. We conclude that at the end of this series, you will have a library of contact information with a wealth of experts that you can reach out to. We're going to have on the next panel, you heard about CBE and SBE. We also partner with Miami-Dade School Board. They have a certification program. Their certification expert is going to be on the next one. We have some other things that are going to be made available. We have a CPA firm that's going to be at the next webinar. Make sure we're going to be talking about a library of consultants in one of the series. Stay tuned. We're going to eventually talk about the DBE certification. So please, 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 thank you for your time. Thank you for coming on board. Thank you for participating and responding. Thank you for taking this information and then using it to go back and grow your business. Any and all questions, you have our telephone numbers, our email addresses, because specifically a lot of the information is personal. Please, for bonding, reach directly out. We're going to make sure all of this information is made available to you. Thank you again. Thank you to my panel members. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your attendees, for your patience with us as we get through the trial and the technology. Yes.
I just wanted to share, this is Dawn. I just wanted to share that our technical services and our workshops are all free, and you don't need to be certified in order to take advantage of it.
Excellent notation, Dawn. And all of the information, I always say, Dawn, get this. I tell them all of the services that I'm able and we're able to make available to businesses through the Business Inclusion and Diversity Program. I used to say they're free, but technically they're not free. The city is investing in businesses by employing myself and Paul and making our services available to you. They're just made available at no cost to you. That's the difference. All of us, we're here for you. We want to continue to provide our services and tools and tactics for you. If you have any questions, again, reach out. This concludes this segment of our first Bid Fit workshop series Paul will be sending information with all of the attached, along with a registration session for the next session, which is to take place on October 1st. Please register ahead of time. Go and look at these resources. Look at what Mr. Watson said about pre-qualification. Come back on October 1st with questions and more information so that we can continue to empower you to grow your business. Thanks again. Until October 1st, please continue to be safe. That concludes this session. Bye-bye.